Hello, I'm Brian Fox. Welcome to I Hate Rock Music, and this video is going to be about a truly strange band. I remember coming across this record in the used bins, probably in about 77, 78. I'd never heard of them. They're called Tarantula out of California, and it's got a really great cover with a auto part that kind of looks like a tarantula. So on A&M Records, and so major label, interesting cover. Had no idea what I was getting when I bought it. I just knew I'd never seen it before, and had a cool name and a cool cover. So I picked it up. And so the band is Tom Grasso on keyboards and vocals, Mike Eselman on electric flute, sax, and vocals, Steve Swern on drums, Oz Bach on bass on vocals, and Thad Maxwell on guitar and vocals. And they're have some lineage. Oz Bach, the bass player, used to be in Spanky and Our Gang, and was also in a band called Wings that put out an album in 1968 that has no relation to Paul McCartney. But interesting story about Spanky and Our Gang. I ended up buying three giant Vox amps from a guy in Florida, and they reportedly had belonged to Spanky and Our Gang, who of course had a couple of hits back in the 60s. So Oz Bach is connected with that, and I have to assume that after playing with Spanky and Our Gang, he definitely wanted to do something off the deep end. Although you wouldn't look at the record itself and know how weird it is. It was also produced by Chad Stewart from Chad and Jeremy, and so someone who obviously was involved in more pop music. He did a great job on the production, but how he got involved in this band is beyond me. And there's definitely flyers out there that show that they opened for a lot of known bands back in the late '60s, early '70s, particularly in San Francisco and the like. And I have to imagine they were pretty crazy live because they are pretty crazy on record. I'm not going to go through all the songs one by one, but the song titles are kind of unusual too. It starts off with a song called "You," and at first you think you're getting an average psych rock album from the '60s with some fuzz guitar and pretty '60s oriented vocals and pretty conventional song, and then it kind of dives off the deep end and never comes back out. And then you get into songs like Electric Guru, TV Repairman, Love is for Peace, which was a shorter version, was released as a single, Poison Dance, Thoughts for Anne, Peach Fuzz and Peppermints, Red Herring, and Billy the Birdman. So unusual song titles that kind of hint at what you're going to get into, but I still wasn't prepared for this record when I listened to it. And it bears some resemblance to Zappa in certain parts, not necessarily with a lot of arpeggios and Zappa-esque moments, other than just utter weirdness and then kind of a jazz element to it. And the electric flute is used a lot in the record, so it's got a lot of improvisations, a lot of weirdness, a lot of weird grunting kind of vocals in different parts, a lot of weird sound effects. Definitely October '69 is when it was released, and definitely a very strange record even for 1969. Once again, there isn't anything quite like it, and it's kind of a mixed bag. I've read other reviews and talked to other record collectors that aren't too crazy about the album, and I admit it's a mixed bag because it's got some jazzy elements to it, and then this weird mix of the jazz and the psych rock, and then some definitely some cool fuzz guitar work, but overall they are obviously not trying to be accessible or commercial at all. It's definitely a very bizarre, somewhat noisy record in parts with some avant-garde elements, and then you throw in the sax and the electric flute, and which is used a lot. You think with a lot of these bands something like that would be used a little sparingly, but it really goes a long way in defining their sound. And he's definitely a good flute and sax player, so that adds to the quality of the record. But boy, I'd really love to hear some live recordings from them. It's hard for me to imagine what they must have sounded like But I'm glad this record is out there. I really enjoy it. I know a lot of people don't, but just because it's so frickin' weird and definitely mostly fairly dark. There's a couple of lighter moments on it. There's even a novelty tune on there that kind of lifts the spirits a little bit. But it's a dark, weird, semi-experimental jazz psych record, if you can believe that. So not much else to say about it. They did release a single off it, which obviously was going nowhere. Love is for Peace, a shortened version, is the A side, and then Billy the Birdman on the B side, which is one of the coolest tunes on the record. But as usual with some of these bands, I don't really have much I can say about them. There's not much information. Um, and let the music do the talking. So as always, it's posted below. Check it out. I recommend for the brave to check out the whole thing because you're not really going to get a picture of what the band is about from any particular tune or doing any samples. So my suggestion is to kind of immerse yourself in it and decide what you think because it's a pretty strange universe that Tarantula has created, and it's utterly amazing that they got signed to a major label like A&M. But they must have done pretty well live and got good exposure playing with a lot of bigger bands. And so a label like A&M apparently was interested. And so for those of you like me who like really odd records that just really kind of stand alone, and once again, some of it is not as successful as other parts of it, but overall it's such a singular universe and so consistently fucked up and weird. I definitely think it's worth having, and I think it's a great addition to any record collection. And I know it's pretty rare because as far as going out there in the racks, um, either in used record stores or cutout bins, I only saw one copy in my whole life, and I still have it. And it's a weird one. So anyway, post it below, check it out, see what you think. I'm Brian Fox. Thanks for watching I Hate Rock Music.